Shalom, giving all praises to my Heavenly Father. His name is Yahweh by Yeshim, Yahweh Shah by Yeshim by Al-Qadash. The honors for the apostles and elders that were well, peace and many salutations to brothers out there that's toiling in this truth. Now, I watched this cat here. It's a clear value tax, and he does, very concise um, videos about uh, the economy. And he was going into how the Feds predict that Americans will run out of money by October 2023. Now, what does that mean? Well, you have a lot of people out there that are using their savings to survive. They're using their credit cards to survive, which is not sustainable. And so people are, eventually going to run out of money. And as you can see, if you're looking at my screen here, like the first comment says the Fed is wrong. I'm out of money right now. So you have a lot of people out there that's living paycheck to paycheck, and you have a lot of people out there that are not just living paycheck to paycheck, but you have it to where people are are drowning, man. And this reigns true even in the trucking industry. Various contracts and things of that nature, they're not paying as much as they were. You have a lot of owner operators that's just getting drowned. If you got into trucking the wrong way, just with a lot of how can I put it? What I mean by the wrong way with with how can I put it? The wrong way will be without any credit lines and things of that nature. Where you just you have to dip into your profit, in order to pay certain breakdowns, things of that nature. Well, shoot, after the whole 2020 situation, the C-19 situation, and the economy slowed down, various raw materials became very expensive. A tire that was freaking 150 a month increased to 200. It cost of 200. Just things of that nature, and that's just dealing with tires. We're not even talking about gas, and other things, and having breakdowns and things of that nature. So a lot of people they're having to park their trucks. They're having to sell their trucks, and go back to a big corporation. You have big corporations out there actually, folding, in the trucking industry. So, so with that, a lot of people out there, they're hurting. You know what I'm saying? And this is just in the trucking industry. You have other industries that are doing substantially bad, and people out there are really feeling the effects. People out there getting less hours at work, and just the cost. Also, just the cost of living has increased. Getting certain goods and things of that nature, to stores, has increased. Buying certain items has increased. Of course, food. Shoot, even dealing with clothes and things of that nature. And the average person is really feeling it. Also, housing has increased substantially. Uh, you know, down here in Texas, there's been an influx of people, so uh, just seeing what people that I've met, or people that I know, excuse me, they shoot. People who are renting, they have to move, constantly, year to year, trying to find, a reasonable price in this market, man. And people are really starting to feel the effects of it. So, and this is something that we, been prophesying that, the economy is going to do substantially bad, and we know it's going to get worse. So, especially with them saying that it's a possible shutdown next year, which I believe last year was just merely a shock test. So just gonna have to buckle up. You know what I'm saying? We know what's about to go on. Wisdom and knowledge will be the stability of our time. So a lot of people are dealing with depression, things of that nature, versus us. We're we're facing these adversities, but we're becoming stronger in the spirit, and that's what's important. Keeping your eyes on the prize. So as this place burns down. So I wanted to play a little bit of this video, and then I want to get to a scripture, and that'll be it.
Their savings by October. So this doesn't mean that the U.S. economy is going to collapse overnight, but it does mean that day-to-day life will become more challenging for everyday Americans. So I'm going to give you the details, I'm going to give you the stats, but first I want to give you an overview of the situation. Okay, so right now, everyday Americans are struggling to keep up with their bills. If you feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck, if you feel like you're just running on the hamster wheel day in, day out, then I'm gonna show you this, and this is gonna be a good explanation of why you feel that way. So I want you to take a look at this. The cost of housing has been ballooning out of control over the past few years. This chart shows how much rent has gone up since 2020. Rent is up 18%. That's just the average. I've read your comments in the previous videos. I know that in some areas, rent increases have just been staggering, well above 18%. Now, when you look at the housing market,
places like California, rent has been increasing even above 18%, man. You know what I'm saying? This is, but 18% is average, okay?
So I cover the housing market pretty thoroughly. Home prices are near record highs. The 30-year fixed mortgage interest rates right now, it's averaging 7.5%. So it's no surprise that home affordability is at record lows. Now let's take a look at vehicles. Here are used vehicle prices since 2020, up 44%. Isn't that just ridiculous?
That's right. So the used vehicles are way more expensive now. I was looking at my car and its value, and they're selling my vehicle, which is not too old. It's a 2016. It's not too old. You know what I'm saying? But it has a lot of miles on it, honestly. But they're selling this vehicle for like freaking, 11,000, 12,000, sometimes 14,000, man. For a vehicle that has over 100 K miles. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, that was unprecedented, man. That was unprecedented. But getting a reasonable car nowadays is hard to find, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that China stopped selling America chips for cars, for smart cars, things of that nature. So the production of cars has decreased, which is causing a economic one-on-one supply and demand. When demand is high and the supply is low, the cost is going to increase. This is what we see going on, man. Okay, and also people don't want to buy a new car. They don't want the responsibility for new debt. People are trying to minimize debt by getting a used car. When that supply or that demand again is high, the cost is going to increase. Okay.
So I analyzed the new car market, I analyzed the used car market for you. I'm just trying to help people get the best prices possible. So please look forward to my next updates. Now moving on to gasoline. Since 2020, gasoline prices are up 39%. So it's fallen from its peak, but gasoline prices are creeping back up. And as of today, in September, gasoline prices are up year over year.
Making a life full of memories. One road trip.
Now moving on to cereal and grain prices. So we're talking about your typical bread products at the grocery store. Up.
Now remember we was covering this about the grains. I have Ukraine is actually a huge manufacturer of grain, globally speaking. And the fact that there's a war going on over there, there's going to be a substantial increase in the price of grain. I don't know if brothers and sisters remember that. We're starting to see the effects of it now, okay? And who's to say that it's not going to increase, okay?
29% since 2020. So I've read your comments saying that before the pandemic, you can get a shopping cart full of groceries for $100. And now that same cart, it costs...
Now you see on that chart, it says prices shot up after Ukraine, a major grain exporter, was invaded, okay? So what we see in contemporary news, globally speaking, has its effects, but it takes a while. And, there's a lot of distractions out there, for the masses that keeps the people preoccupied from the extent of how life is going to change because of war. Okay? People aren't recognizing it. This is why the Most High has us in place to prophesy and to tell those that's in the know to stay alert. Okay?
$150. It costs even more than that. So listen, it's clear. I mean, it should be very obvious that this is why everyday Americans are struggling. I just showed you some of the most basic needs. I showed you housing, vehicles, gasoline, food. So these expenses, they've grown by 20%, 30%, 40%. Since 2020, wages have not grown by 20%, 30%, 40%. And everyday Americans are making up the difference. You know how they're doing that? They're charging more on their credit card, or they're dipping into savings. And that is, that's unsustainable, and that's very stressful. Now, I want to tell you this. I see many comments requesting that I come up with solutions, and I will bring you solutions.
I'll leave that up to you guys as far as that. But, as I said, people are running out of money because they're dipping into the savings. They're maxing out their credit cards, man. They're maxing out, you know what I mean? We have habits and things of that nature. We have a very soft lifestyle, so we like to go out, things of that nature. Go out to eat, so people are trying to sustain that lifestyle, that they once had pre-pandemic, and it's just not sustainable. And clearly the grinding is ceasing before our eyes. You know what I mean? As you can see, what we've been prophesying, what we've been saying before it happens, it's happening. Okay, that's what simply prophesying, means. So, what is a spiritual solution to what we see going on now? Getting closer to Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. That's a solution, man. As far as carnal solutions, eat out less, cook more, sit down somewhere. Try to minimize your habits. That's where fasting come in. Fasting is a beautiful thing to help you minimize your habits. If you like drinking and things like that, which is nothing wrong with. But if you feel like you going to the bar a little bit too much, or drinking a little bit too much, maybe you can go on a fast. You know what I'm saying, to help you cut back on your spending habits. You know what I mean? Yeah, because as we know, it's going to get very serious out here. Um, so we're here to galvanize one another in the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, to get ready for that said peril. Joel 1:13. Gird yourself and lament, ye priests, howl ye ministers of the altar. Come, lie all night in sackcloth, ye ministers of the Most High, for the meat offering and the drink offering is withholding from the house of your power. And if you read up, the reason why is because at the time of Joel, they were getting, basically cursed with, grasshoppers eating things of nature, eating crops. Okay, and we could use it symbolically speaking for what's going on in the economy now. Grains and certain commodities is being eaten up and destroyed because of war. Ultimately, the will of the Heavenly Father. Okay. Verse 14: Sanctify ye a fast, call a solemn assembly, gather the elders and all the inhabitants of the land into the house of Yahweh your power, and cry unto Yahweh. And it's very spiritual that the apostles and elders have been really pushing fasting. Really pushing. Hey, clean yourself out. You know, uh, watch what you're eating. And that mindset is going to be very advantageous for us in the near future to get off the meat and things of that nature, because meat is getting way more expensive. And the meat that they're giving us is crap. It's bull crap. You know what I'm saying? No point intended. Um, and being able to not depend on eating meat so much it's important. It's crazy. I had a dream. I want to say yesterday, man. I had a dream I went actually was eating nothing but fruits and vegetables, and I was feeling real good real good, man. And I got up, had a smoothie. You know what I'm saying? I had a little meat that day, but I got up and got a smoothie, things of that nature, and I felt a lot better. A lot of times when we have headaches or even feeling battling depression, that's our body telling us, hey man, you need more fruits and vegetables versus just meat. And then the days to come, not depending on meat as a pillar of your, of your meals is, will be important, because meat is that's about to get way more expensive. If things keep going the way it is. Um, so I thought that was very spiritual, that that the Most High put the spirit on the elders, the apostles, to go on fast. You know what I mean? Verse 15. Alas for the day of Yahweh is at hand, as a destruction from the Almighty shall it come. Is not the meat cut off before our eyes? Yea, joy and gladness from the house of our power. The seed is rotting under this clods. The gardeners are laid waste. The barns are broken down, for the corn is withered. And we see this going on now. These certain food banks and things of nature are getting taxed. Because there's been an influx of people that need food. And we just gave another instance, dealing with the Ukraine situation, how grain is being destroyed because of the Russia invasion. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that's going on geopolitically speaking, that's going to affect us. That is affecting us. And people don't understand. People are blaming it on Joe Biden, which they do that every year. But, people are very naive about, uh, macroeconomics, or broad economics or globalization. Okay? Let's get back to it, though. Verse 18, how do the beasts groan? The herds of cattle are perplexed. Because they have no pasture, yea, the flocks of sheep are made desolate. O Yahweh, to thee will I cry, for the fire hath devoured the pastures of the wilderness, and the flame hath burned all the trees of the field. The beasts of the field cry also unto thee, for the rivers of water are dried up. And there's a huge drought going on down here in Texas. To have a route that passes through Oklahoma and the Red Sea, man. The Red River, excuse me. The part of the Red River that I passed, man, it's so shallow, you can just simply walk over it. You know what I'm saying? And also the Mississippi River, which a lot of commerce is done via the Mississippi River. It's drying up too. I can imagine a lot of people having a hard time, getting their cattle things, water to drink and things of that nature. Because with cows, they can sustain themselves, but a lot of times, you have to give them feed to make sure, they're eating properly, and also they're getting certain nutrition. And even feed is getting more expensive, man. Barns of hay. Back in the day, barns you get a barn of hay for about $35. Now it's like $55, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's getting harder and harder on these animals to feed animals and things of that nature, man. And I don't know the price of feed, but I bet you it's going up. I know a barn of hay has went up substantially, man. Like $25, like $20. I say 55, but it could be even higher than that. But I remember back in the day, it was $35. You know what I mean? So somebody who's struggling with these cattle, I can imagine they have to sell them off and things of that nature because they just simply can't afford it anymore, man. Verse 20, the beasts of the fields cry also unto thee, for the rivers of water are dried up, and the fire hath devoured the pastures of the wilderness. Okay, so the Most High is tearing up this that economy. He's gonna tear up this economy that we're looking at now, that we in now. Okay, Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. All right, now if you look at some commentary, grinders would be women that grind up certain meals for money. And who's doing substantially bad in this economy right now? Single women. Okay, they're being touched by the Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. A lot of women that say they don't need a man. Okay, you're gonna see them, protesting for a man real soon. You know what I'm saying? Gonna be want to do something strange for a piece of change, if you get my drift. Okay? All right? This is about to happen. Okay? Because people resort back to their natural, the natural being, when, crisis has happened, man. And this economy doing substantially well is going to be a crisis. Okay? Back to it, though. And those that look out of the windows be darkened, And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up with the voice of the bird, and daughters of music shall be brought low. Right? People ain't going out anymore. I was reading one article. It's like, the club life is doing substantially bad. People ain't going out anymore. In particular, men aren't going out anymore. One, because the atmosphere of dating is so, in turmoil. These women out here have inflated, egos, and it makes people just not want to be around them. You know what I'm saying? And also, shoot, a man is very logical. Men are very logical, so they're seeing like, hey, I can't sustain this by going out, things of that nature, and spending my money on these subpar women. So I'm gonna stay home. So I'm gonna, you know, um, so that's causing even people that's in the nightlife to feel the effects of not being able of not having customers, and it's only going to get worse. Okay, it's only going to get worse. Okay, verse 5. Also, when they shall be afraid, so like of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, which would something we just read in Joel. Those grasshoppers destroying crops and things of that nature. It's gonna be that's gonna be going on too, especially down here in Texas, because we're starting not to have any winters, and so there's certain insects that's supposed to die when you have a freeze. But if those insects aren't dying and they're able to they're able to breed and things of that nature, those various insects can be a big burden. Okay, it could be like certain spiders that's supposed to die, grasshoppers, of course. When the season is out of course, and these insects, survive, they don't, because of not having winter, that could be a serious problem for the agriculture community. We're so far removed. We're so far removed from agriculture. We don't understand. We don't think about these certain things of how not having a winter can affect crops and things of that nature. But this is something that can potentially happen here, especially down here in Texas, man. It seems like we don't even have freaking winters anymore. Like, so it's crazy, because it's almost like it's turning tropical down here. We have like rainy seasons, you know what I mean? Which is kind of off. Back to it. And the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. That's right. So there's gonna be some more mornings. It's gonna be more, protests going on. We're gonna see it, man. I think 2023, man. Hopefully, we see, a change and everything, because it's time. It's time for everybody to feel it. It's time for everybody to be touched by Yahweh, by Shem Yahushua, man. The decadence of this place, it's too much, So, most are willing, this will be soon. So, while we know it's going to happen, getting ourselves together is where it's at, man. Getting ourselves together is where it's at. Hopefully I can walk out how I talk it. If I tell anybody to do anything, you know what I'm saying? So, giving all praise to my Heavenly Father, name is Yahweh, by Shem Yahushua, by Shem Kakadash, the minds of the apostles and elders that rule well. Peace, many salutations to you brothers out there that's toiling in this truth. Lord willing, this was edifying for you brothers and you few sisters out there. Shalom.